Hello everyone, RetroCon here. If you are a prowler of the internet, you have probably already heard of and encountered the strange online phenomenon known as live streamers. The inner machinations of these strange and mysterious creatures have long stumped even the most experienced of neuroscientists and psychologists. You have, no doubt, pondered how they behave when the cameras are off, and have long wondered what propels them forward in their relentless crusade for e-fame. Well, wonder no more. I've got good news for you. From the deepest corners of Japan, the esteemed and renowned gaming studio known as Why So Serious Incorporated, along with Zamono, or however you pronounce that word, brings you the answers you've been looking for. Needy Girl Overdose, alternatively known as the VTuber Simulator. Decades of deep research into the chaotic wastelands of the internet has allowed them to create one of the most realistic simulators to date. Needy Girl Overdose is a highly interactive visual novel. You play through the perspective of a mentally stunted man who has made the extremely poor decision of dating a drug-addicted, bipolar, and unhinged lunatic, your typical streamer. Further evidence of your character's mental retardation is provided when you decide to move in with this person. And, as if there could not be any more red flags in the relationship, your girlfriend is also unable to make any decisions in her life, likely as a result of deep family trauma, and requires you to command absolutely every aspect of her life. The limits of your morality will be tested as you are the one who gets to decide what she will be doing at any given time of day. You get to decide when she eats, when she goes out, and if she has to go to bed early. The more I read this script, the more I realize it was a mistake to call this a VTuber simulator, and it might be more apt to call it an abusive relationship simulator. Ultimately, it will be up to you whether she achieves her completely unrealistic and delusional goal of reaching 1 million followers on her live streaming platform within 30 days. I will warn you, this is not a game for everyone. All things Japanese have a tendency to be for the more depraved of individuals. As such, some of the quicker routes to your goals would be to pimp her out to her followers, have her abuse drugs before her streams, or allow her to be verbally assaulted by her followers. You will also get first-hand experience into an extremely dysfunctional and borderline abusive relationship. And worst of all, your chances of being cucked or made out to be a simp are relatively high. The game explores many aspects of the live streaming world and offers a rather intense social commentary on the current state of the worst subsection of the live streaming community. If it wasn't already apparent, the visuals of this game are exclusively shown in a pixelated retro look. There are really only two characters to look at in this game. One of them is Amy, and the other is her online persona K-Angel, or Kangle if you are not a weeb. The story is played through a computer emulating the good old days of Windows 2000 in order to appeal to old people who refuse to accept progress. Where the game lacks in character diversity, it makes up for in visual effects used throughout the game. These effects are used to great result, for example, when your girlfriend enters a drug-induced coma or has yet another psychotic breakdown. Music tracks in this game are done in an 8-bit retro style that ensures you too can experience what it feels like to be partially insane. The soundtrack is rather small, featuring a little over 30 minutes of original music. A good chunk of that is also used for the intro and outro of the game. Worse still, what little remains is recycled, usually sped up or distorted to match certain situations. This shouldn't bother most of you. The game is just long enough for you to not really notice. And if you happen to be a completionist, you're probably already insane anyways. Now look, there's not too much complexity to this game. You don't need to be an epic gamer kid or a 300 IQ savant to enjoy this game. So let's talk about some mechanics. It is well understood that the Japanese only understand 3 states of mind: stress, affection, and mental darkness. You must perform the delicate task of walking on eggshells in order to manage and maintain these stats, partially to mimic an actual relationship, and partially to prevent your mentally unstable girlfriend from killing you or herself in a bout of hysteria. Much like in real life, there are various fail conditions, bad endings caused by reaching certain critical thresholds in these stats. In the real world, you would see this manifest in road rage, marriages, and depression. Of course, in the Japanese world, this manifests a little bit differently. Days start at noon and proceed to dusk and then night. Like most of us, Amy suffers from insomnia and is incapable of waking up in the mornings. You're not allowed to stream at noon and dusk. That is probably because her pay pigs are slaving away in corporate to make her money. Instead, what you can do during that time, if you're a decent human being, is spend quality time with your girlfriend to help her deal with her stress and emotional issues. Or you could be a piece of human waste and encourage her to abuse drugs and make her browse the drudges of the internet to get some new streaming ideas, while simultaneously making her stress and emotional issues worse. Amy's need for validation is of course the most prudent issue, and therefore her follower count is the primary focus of the game, and as a result, you must get around to streaming at some point or another. Unfortunately, she is unable to ignore the chat, and so streaming usually includes huge penalties to her stats from having to read the garbage replies from her haters. Amy communicates to you directly through a computer messenger app, and you can read her personal thoughts on her Fox Twitter account. Here, you are shown the juxtaposition of the two characters' thoughts, with K-Angel representing the ad revenue friendly front most of these kinds of people put up, and Amy representing the extremely fragile and unhinged person she actually is, a completely accurate representation of your average Twitter user. Now allow me to explore various routes in no particular order. From suicidal rants to manic needs of affection and validation from you, there's one ending in which you can get Amy addicted to sex by continuously emptying your seed inside of her. At some point, she will become so addicted she will give up on her ambitions of becoming a streamer solely to focus on procreating with you. Nice one, Japan. Next, you have an ending which is arguably one of the good endings, where she realizes the ridiculousness of her current goals and instead pursues a regular job, probably in accounting. There's another ending where Amy falls deeply in love with you, and possibly, maybe, kills you so the two of you can be together forever. There's another ending where she becomes the leader of a suicidal cult dedicated to reducing the world's population to 10% of what it is now. These aren't even half the number of endings you can encounter, and quite frankly, they're the tamer ones. There are some endings much more insane and significantly more disturbing that I haven't touched. Good luck. In conclusion, this was a good game. It enamored me enough with its artistic direction that I bothered to hunt all of the achievements. Except this one, because I refuse to be a cuck. This game is worth a shot if you enjoy these types of stories. It hits similar to Doki Doki Literature Club, but is a bit more on the nose about the insanity to come. You'll definitely enjoy the wild ride. The game is good, and it's worth playing for at least a dozen or so of the endings. They're all interesting and unique. I give it 10 antidepressants out of 10. Enough to take you on a wild ride that you are sure to regret midway and not be able to come out of. And as always, have a beautiful day.